Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 25 map guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at Drakurza. But before that, this video is brought to you by Razdak and Gizmo UK. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Drakurza map can be found over at kingmods.net. And as a result of being hosted on a site other than the main Giants mod hub, this is going to be a PC only map. In addition, we're going to be taking a look at version 1.0.0.2, and I will have a link to download this map in the description. Let me read you a little bit of the map's description. Welcome to the world of Drakurza. It is a fictional map, has 67 fields, 1 BGA, enough empty space to build out your ideas, an animal dealer, transport deadwood and destructible rock missions, a starter industrial park that can be expanded. Now this map is 346 megabytes to download, and it's listed as not being compatible for a server, which I really don't understand, and also not being compatible for consoles, which is pretty easy to understand because, again, this is not available over at the main Giants mod hub, but I kind of wish it was. But I don't think Giants is going to permit this map because it's basically an edit of a base map. But again, it would be nice to see this get submitted over there, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, in order to download, we're going to have to scroll down here until we see this download version 1.0.0.2, sharemods.com. Now, depending on if this map's been further updated, then the version number may change, but this is basically where you're going to be downloading this map. We're going to click on this, and it's going to take us to a Share Mods site, and we have to wait a few seconds in order to get a download link. Once we get that download link, we're going to click on this, and we're going to stop here because this is not where we're supposed to be going, and we're going to back out because we are being smart with how we're downloading our maps and our mods, and we're not just going to click on everything that just pops up. So a Share Mods, you get a page that looks like this. It counts down for 5 seconds, and then it is going to take you to another Share Mods page in order to download the map. We're being currently redirected to something other than Share Mods, and as a result, we're not, do not click that. That's not going to download the map. Don't click it. So we're going to back out because that's not right. So I've got a thing. If it smells rotten, it probably is rotten. So don't click on it. I've seen way too many times in my 30 years of being in enterprise IT, folks say, I shouldn't have done that. As soon as I clicked on it, I knew I shouldn't have done it. Or I was in a rush and I didn't think. Both of those things will mess your system up pretty quick. Slow down. If something doesn't look right, don't do it. So currently, there's something up with Share Mods. I think they've got some malicious advertisers that they may not know about, and we just need those to get cleared away. If you really want to download this map after watching this video, then by all means, you can download it safely. I downloaded it safely earlier today without too much issue whatsoever. But be cautious. Click on Share Mods, wait your 5 seconds, and if you're taken to a page other than something that looks just like this, if the domain says something other than sharemods.com up here, then back out because we are not going to click on this. We're not going to confirm anything because we are nowhere close to sharemods.com. Okay? So again, it should take us to a Share Mods page. We should get a download link. We can download the map. We can put it in our mods folder. If you see anything other than that, then back out and make sure you don't mess up your system. So let's assume Share Mods has their act together by the time that you do get around to watching this video, and they've cleared out these nasty advertisers. You're able to download the map. This is where you start. We're starting here at the fuel point, and right behind the fuel point, we have our vehicle dealer. Since I'm already here, I might as well just buy something just so we can see where things are going to spawn. But overall, what you're going to find is your vehicles are going to spawn right here by the vehicle dealer trigger, as they would on Riverbend Springs. We've got a pretty large area here for vehicles and machinery to spawn, especially given the overall sizes of these fields. So if we come here and take a look at the PDA, you're going to see that we've got quite the collection of what I would say are medium to small fields. This is a standard size map, and we've got a fair amount of gap between the fields, so it should be fairly easy to even merge these together to form even larger fields. We do have all the standard crops available to us on Farm Sim 25 available on this map. And if we take a look at our farmland screen, we start out by owning farmland ID 1. That is going to include the main starting farm, which we do have pre-built in all modes. So if you select to own the farm at the start, like we have, then we own farmland ID 1. We have our starting fleet, we have our buildings, everything is built out. If you choose to not own the starting farm, well, you don't own farmland ID 1, but you do own the machinery, and you do have the buildings there if you want to make use of them, even though you don't own the land. So given that, I would just go ahead and start owning the starting farm just so that you can spend your money in other ways. If you do need to buy this, you can buy it for $281,872. We have farmland ID 2, which is also owned at the start, for $83,200. And then tied to farmland ID 1 is this industrial park in the southwest corner of the map. We do have down here the sawmill, which is one of the productions we own at the start, and we've got a fair bit of space behind the sawmill that we could put additional productions down should we so wish. The other production that is available on this map is the biogas plant and is located up here in the northeast. And we're going to be able to buy that as well, but it is not on buyable farmland. With respect to our crop calendar, we do have a standard FS25 crop calendar on this map. We do not start out with any animals or animal pins pre-placed. We do have contracts available to us. You can see we have our dead wood, our rock removal, and wood transport. As the description said, we have our sawmill owned, and then the BGA is buyable. Those are the only two productions available on the map. And overall, I counted up the various sell points, and I came up with 7 different sell points available. But you can see that pretty much the farmer's market is going to be the main sell point for a lot of our crops. If we do own or not own the starting farm, these are our starting vehicles. We have the Amazon Z8 TS 3200 fertilized spreader, the Bentnar Omega 006000 FL seeder, the Kloss Flex 1080 grain header with a Lexion 6900 harvester. For that, we have the Nardi N6035 header trailer for our grain header. We bought that, so that doesn't count. Lemken Titan 18 plow. We have the New Holland T7 300 tractor, Rudolph TDK 301 RA trailer. We have a 1500 kilogram front weight. We have a Carrier XL 625 cultivator and the Rexus 1230 roller. That is our starting machinery. We also do start out with the Husqvarna chainsaw in our hand tool inventory. And while this map does say that we have 25 collectibles, we actually do not. So I ran the collectibles show command here on this map, and nothing popped up on the PDA. So there were no little hotspots showing as to where the various collectibles were. So I believe the fact that the map says there are 25 collectibles is simply an error, and as a result of possibly the collectibles file being left in the map, even though the collectibles aren't actually defined within that file. Our vehicle dealer trigger is located just across the parking lot from our dealer itself, and is located right here. And then I'm just going to tab over to our starting farm, which is just down the road from the dealer. Here we have our farmhouse with our sleep and wardrobe trigger. An easy shed with lots of our machinery. And I will tell you that you can sell pretty much everything here on the starting farm as far as the buildings and such. So if you wanted to completely rebuild this area, you would be able to. We have our diesel tank. We can also clear out this fence that runs the perimeter of this farm area. Under this shed, we've got the rest of our starting machinery. Here we have a seed silo. Then we have a solid fertilizer silo located right there. We have our grain silo located here. Standard FS25 grain silo with our dump and fill triggers. Then we have our maintenance trigger right here at our garage. And that, folks, that's pretty much the starting farm. And again, like I said, you can sell all of these buildings, all of these structures, the fence, and then all you need to do is clear out these bushes and grass, and you'll have a nice area to build whatever you want. Let's get a little bit of altitude here and just kind of take a look around. As you can see, this is a fairly flat map. We do have some subtle rolling hills on the fields and such. It's a fairly open map as well. And as such, should run pretty darn good on just about any type of hardware. I did run this system on my test system, which is using AMD integrated graphics, specifically the 780M mobile chipset. And I was running at a 40 watt TDP, so 40 watts of system power to the CPU and the integrated GPU. And I was seeing anywhere between 40 and 50s as far as our frames. So we were seeing 80, 90, and 100 FPS once we factor in the fact that my recommended medium settings for lower end system is incorporating FSR frame gen. So we have our starting farm, and then to the north and east, well, here is where we're going to have our starting location. So we have our fuel point, we have our dealership, we have our dealer trigger located right there, and we've got a couple NPCs just kind of hanging out. If we make our way further north, we're going to come up here to the biogas plant. Now, as far as what can be sold at the biogas plant, I was successful in selling the weight scale. I was successful in selling the 2 3-sided silage bunkers. I was not successful in selling the BGA, even if I owned it. So that is something important to note. So we make our way to the northwest. We have apartment complex here, which is just decorational. It would be nice to have seen maybe a sell point placed there for something like eggs and other products that we could maybe produce in a dairy. Speaking of a dairy, we have a dairy sell point, not a production, but a dairy sell point located right here. And the drop off for that is going to be here behind the dairy, as it is on Riverbend Springs. If we loop our way kind of down toward the middle of the map, we've got this nice lake that is in front of this other residential area. And moving to the east of that residential area, we have our farmers market sell point, which is going to be one of the primary sell points on the map. You see our starting farm is just to the east of this farmers market. If we continue to make our way around the western side of the map, we have another grain sell point located right here. And the dump for that is going to be right inside of there. And then further down the western side of the map, we have this industrial yard, which we do own at the start. We have a biomass heating plant located right here for the sale of wood chips logs and such. We have our sawmill located right here. So we have our pallet point, our interactive point, and our dump point for our logs. We have a stone crusher right behind the sawmill. And then the rest of this is open space, ready for us to put whatever other productions down we may want, because we do own this particular area at the start. I'm going to make my way kind of back toward the middle of the map. Because we do have a sell point located here at the supermarket. And then we're going to kind of make our way to the southeast corner of the map. And that's where we're going to find the rest of the items, which is basically just the animal dealer. We can see, as I mentioned in the intro, it's going to be pretty easy to merge these fields because we just have a few trees scattered in between them. And the access roads around the fields are just painted in. They're not actual models, so we don't have any worries about that. Here we have our animal dealer. So we have our dealer trigger located here to purchase animals. We have our bale sell point right beside that, and around the side, as we have learned to come to expect, we have our manure buy point, and we have our slurry buy point here. So we can purchase manure and slurry if we are doing organic farming. And folks, that is basically Drakurza. I'd love to know your all's thoughts down in the comments below. And like I said, Share Mods isn't necessarily a bad site, but right now they are apparently, well, running banner ads or something from questionable locations. And as such, I would exercise caution when downloading this map, if it's a map you even want to download as a result of having to go through that hassle. Be cautious with any site you visit, and as always, happy farming.